Hello and welcome to the Get Unstuck series. I hope you're all well today. I'm coming down with a bit of a cold, so you have to excuse me if I'm a little bit croaky today. If you haven't met me before in terms of attending one of my lives, I'm Sarah Archer. I'm a career and leadership coach, and I work predominantly with mid to senior professional women to create careers that they really enjoy, that they can develop, they can get the kind of success that's right for them within. And the Get Unstuck series is just 15 minutes. It's quite brief, weekly sessions to give you tips, tools, inspiration, information to help you move your career forward, to kind of tip that dial a little bit more in your favour. And I love it if you've got questions or comments for me. The live goes live in my Facebook group, the Love What You Do Lounge. Hello, if you're watching me from there, and also on LinkedIn. Hello, if you're watching me on LinkedIn. So please do, tell me you're here. If you've got a question about the topic or you want to make a comment, please do. If you're watching on replay, then just tag me in the comments and I will come back and answer any questions that you might have. So let's look at today's topic, which is all about developing your personal brand authentically. And when I'm working with clients, this is often something we work on together, and a lot of women find this a really tricky area, and we're going to explore that a little bit more today, because it can feel quite exposing, and it can also feel like a kind of non-essential. But actually, there's lots of really great reasons why you should have a personal brand. And if you are watching live and you want to make a contribution, I'd love to know how you feel about having a personal brand. Do you feel like you've got one? Can you articulate it? Are you actively promoting it? And yeah, I'd love to know what you feel about the thought of developing your personal brand and actually using it. And it can feel like, I don't have time for developing a personal brand. My job is full on. But actually, it is really important to spend a bit of time thinking about it, because whether you like it or not, you have one. So, what we're putting out there, it gets seen. So, you will have a personal brand, even if you haven't actively created it. And obviously, if you are actively working on your personal brand, it's going to be great having a strong reputation that people can see, that people can recognize, because it's going to lead to more opportunities, both internally and externally. So whether that's getting a secondment, whether it's getting the opportunity to lead a project that you're really interested in, getting an offer to speak somewhere, or write something, or, get that promotion, it is definitely going to contribute to accelerating those opportunities for you. And it enables you to have a consistent message about your talents, which is really important, because that helps you stand out. It is a crowded market. There are going to be lots of other people who've got similar skills and experiences to you. So having a personal brand that you're actively managing will help you to stand out. And the research shows that if you do have a really strong personal brand, you're more likely to attract an internal sponsor. And having an internal sponsor is really, really useful, because that means you've got a champion, you've got somebody in your corner who is probably, talking about you, selling your value into the organization. And the research also shows that if you have a sponsor, you're 23% more likely to get a promotion. So, that's definitely something worth thinking about. But I have to say, and the other thing actually that it's really useful for is it kind of helps you stand out in your field. So then if you're facing redundancy at any point in your career, you're more likely to get snapped up, because people can recognize you have a strong personal branding. They can see how you can add value. But the thing I was going to say is it can be really challenging for women, particularly, to actively promote their personal brand for different reasons. But one of the reasons is this thing called a likability conundrum, if you've heard of that, which, we have gender norms, which unfortunately are still kind of out there. And women, the gender norm around women is that we are nice, that we're warm, that we're nurturing. And we all hold these kind of gender norms. It's not just, men seeing us that way, other women see us that way too. And if those gender norms are breached and the breach can be through stepping up, making tough decisions, having strong opinions, self-promoting, then what can happen is that we can be penalised in a way that men aren't penalised. So people can then think about us as being too aggressive, too pushy, too ballsy, too cold, maybe even, calling us the B word. And, that can then put women off stepping up and taking on that, that personal brand that is about being assertive, that's being, a leader, that's actually, being able to kind of take those decisions or voice those views. But what I'm going to hopefully share with you today is just some ways that you can navigate that likability conundrum in a way that feels authentic to you, and also that you can give yourself confidence to manage your personal brand successfully without fearing that you're going to fall into those kind of penalizing views about you. So the first thing, excuse me, I'm just going to have a little sip because my voice is definitely going a little bit today. And obviously, if you've experienced those gender norms, or you kind of can see that that's something that holds you back, let me know, post something in the comments. So the first thing to think about then is it's about controlling your narrative. Because often we tend to think, okay, I don't need a personal brand. I'm just going to work really hard and people will notice that I'm really great at what I do. Or if I've made some career choices, maybe I've taken a career break or I've made a shift or a switch in some way, people will understand why I maybe have had to do that. But the reality is that we're all too busy to really think deeply about other people in our kind of orbit. And often we might make assumptions about people, about the choices they've made or what they do. So if you don't talk about the complexity of your job and the challenges that you face, then your manager might just assume that actually, okay, you have it easy. You don't have to deal with all of these difficult things that maybe a counterpart is dealing with, that's actually telling their manager, I've had to navigate all these challenges to get to this end result. You might just be beavering away and getting to that end result, still facing those challenges, but not really telling anybody about it. So there's assumptions made that maybe you've got an easy ride. So you do need to think about, how can I let people know about the value that I bring in terms of managing the complexity, managing challenge, managing difficulty, and sharing successes. Or, if you've made a career switch, you don't want people making assumptions, well, you switched because you couldn't hack that previous career. So it's having a narrative that actually allows you to tell people in a way that you feel really comfortable with the value that you might bring from that previous shift or that previous role, and how it really adds value to what you do now. Because often I talk to clients about, it's not just about moving up in your career. It might be about making choices that allow you to have more creativity or more challenge or more stimulation, or, staying in a specialism rather than becoming a manager. But being able to articulate why that is enables people to see, God, you're really committed to this, and you're bringing all of this great creativity or whatever it is. So really being able to control your narrative. And I think one way to do that is to really think about, okay, what do I want to be known for? What are my brand elements? So you can think about this in kind of three ways. So how do I add value? What are the skills and capabilities and talents that I bring, that I demonstrate, that really add value, that make a difference, that make change, that leads to things having impact? And then what am I like to work with or for? What's my brand in terms of how I want to be at work? And how do I make people feel? Because there's that old adage, people don't remember what you did or what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. So thinking about those kind of brand elements and weaving them together into a narrative that you feel really comfortable with, that you can then be explicit about in terms of how you add value. So maybe you're really great at problem solving, but because you're great at it, you kind of feel, oh, I don't need to sort of tell people that this is something that I'm really good at. I just get on with it. But actually thinking about, how can I really demonstrate that actually that problem solving ability is a real advantage to the business? And then, just being ready to talk about that. And this is all going to take practice. It's not just going to be something you're going to feel comfortable doing overnight, but really thinking about, okay, when I'm having an interaction with my boss or my boss's boss, how am I really telling them about what I do and the difference I make? When I'm talking to my team, how am I making my team feel? What are they experiences as a result of my leadership style? And maybe just really kind of being explicit about the kind of culture that you want to create and making your team really aware of your leadership style. So then the second thing is then to look for opportunities to be visible. Once you've kind of created this brand and you're really comfortable with it and you're comfortable talking about it, you've got to think about how do you want to get that out there. And it's looking for opportunities both internally and externally in ways that you feel comfortable with. So it might be about looking for writing or speaking opportunities. So it might be thinking, okay, how can I go and do maybe a lunch and learn if your organization runs those? Or how could I write something that contributes to the intranet or the website, or writing a piece for a trade organization or a trade press or something like that. And how can I demonstrate my expertise beyond my immediate team and my immediate boss? How can I maybe go and present at a different team or in a different department, or go to senior leadership team and talk about something that I'm working on? So looking for opportunities, and it might even also be pushing yourself forward in those opportunities as well, creating them for you. Which kind of leads me on to my next point, which is my third one, which is about networking internally and externally. And networking, people go, I don't want to do that. But it's about doing it, and again, in a way that feels right for you. So it might be more on a one-to-one basis than on a group basis. It might be more about writing than speaking. But, finding ways that you can build your network and also focus on what they call bridging capital. So that's about looking for people or groups that you can develop networks in that are different to you. Because when we tend to network, we tend to network with people that are similar to us, so within our function or our specialism or our department or our team. And actually, we want to take it broader, because the more people that know you and know what you do and can talk about you and see your value, then the more your personal brand is going to be boosted. So it is kind of maybe then going and looking for opportunities to talk to a different team or get to know a counterpart in a different organization, or just ways to kind of broaden your network, so that you're not just reliant on your immediate network to sort of sing in, to sell your praises. You've got more champions in the organization. And then my fourth area in terms of the strategy to navigate the likability conundrum is to be authentic. So often if we've got to make a tough decision, or we've got to voice a strong opinion, or if the culture is quite say kind of male in terms of it's perhaps if you don't want to be seen as that kind of nice, warm, nurturing person, you might feel you've got to go to the opposite end, if you like, of that. But actually what I would say is to be really authentic. So if you've got to take a tough decision, you can still do that in a compassionate way. If you've got to voice a strong opinion, you can still be collaborative in how you voice that opinion. And if you're promoting yourself, you can do it in a way that's really helpful. You can link your skills and previous experience to something that's going to be really useful to your boss or whoever it is you're talking to about what you're doing. So it is about just bringing that authenticity into it. And that's why doing that piece about what your brand elements are, so if you want to be known for compassionate leadership, then that is what's going to be underpinning the decisions that you're going to make and how you operate as a leader or as a specialist, so that you don't feel that you're going to be penalized, and if you are, authentically, I made that decision in the best way and I put things in place to support people who are affected by that decision. So I know that's a lot to kind of think about, but just to recap, so if you are thinking about wanting to actively promote your personal brand in an authentic way, it is having a strategy. So it's thinking about controlling your narrative. So that means developing what you want to be known for, and then thinking about how you want to communicate that. And also then looking for opportunities to get that visibility. Sorry, the postman's just arrived. That's why my dog's barking. And then networking internally and externally, but in a diverse way. So not just sticking within your kind of known group, and also being authentic in terms of how you operate and how you want to promote yourself and your brand. So it's not following a cookie cutter approach to it. It's really thinking about, this is me, how I want to live my brand. It has got to be, what's the word? Coherent. That's the word I'm looking for, with my actual brand. So I'd love to know your thoughts on it. I know that's been a bit of a whistle stop tour through developing a personal brand, and obviously there's a lot that goes into that. So if you want any support or any help with developing your own personal brand, then obviously do get in touch. It's something that I do with my clients. It is part of taking yourself to that next level, and being really proactive. And if it's something for 2024 that you really want to do, then do get in touch. And Faye's just commented, thank you, Faye. Great advice, Sarah, and hello to Phoebe in the background. She always likes to get involved. I hope she's picked up some good personal brand tips too. Bernie and Cookie love making appearances when I'm recording things as well. Yeah, well, that's the joy, isn't it, of having co-workers who are dogs, which I have to say could be part of my personal brand. I'm not sure I want it to be, but hey. So have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you back here next Wednesday for another live on something inspirational to do with your career. Thank you for joining me.